information technologies and take it forward, so that what makes us happy is when we enabled workforce as they come into the corporate sector. So that is a whole endeavor. It's a win-win situation for both colleges as well as the corporate, because colleges are able to give the latest technologies right from the experts in the industry, and corporates are able to grab students who are well versed in the technologies even before they start working. So please make use of this wonderful opportunity and do ask us questions. Reach out to us in case you want further mentoring or any kind of support. We will also be glad to do this program for other colleges. So thanks a lot for giving this opportunity again, Professor Nagarajan sir and team. And today we have a wonderful presenter, Yogeshwar, and along with me I have my team of CSR Chennai, Babu Ramraj, Kumaraswamy, Josika, and many people behind the screens working for enabling this. Thank you, and wish you all have a great session ahead. Over to you, sir.
Madam.
Yes, sir. Good morning, all. I'm Ms. Amrita Kundu, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science Engineering, Surendra Institute of Engineering and Management. And I would like to introduce our speaker of the session, Mr. Yogeshwar A. Karu, who is a senior IT professional currently working with IBM. He has done his master's in computer application. Currently, he is a PhD research scholar in IOT and blockchain. He has been working in the industry for more than 23 years and has a vast experience in handling global projects, application development, infrastructure delivery, migration projects, and has the experience of working for Petronas, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, EDS, Emphasis, and now IBM as project manager for last 4 years. Passionate about learning the emerging technologies, he has received several awards and accolades that include Agility Award from Emphasis, Rockstar Award, The Essential Award from IBM, and many more. Mr. Yogeshwar is a trainer and speaker. He is a certified EC Council instructor since 2005 and trained many aspirants on certified ethical hacking at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He also trains many aspirants on project management professional, that is PHP certification. We are privileged that this man with so many feathers on his hat is sharing his knowledge and experience with us. I know all of you are looking forward to hear from him. So over to you, Yogeshwar sir.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for the brief introduction, and good morning to everyone. Today we will be seeing the session in terms of the Internet of Things. In short, we call it as an IoT, and we will be seeing what's the career options. We as a students, urge once we understand and grab the knowledge of IoT, where we can be in the marketplace, right? So before I go into the career options, we need to understand what is an IoT is meant for. So that would be the agenda for the day for another 53 minutes more. So that would what the agenda would be like. I'll be explaining you what is an IoT and how the IoT is being derived and what is the architecture for an IoT, and why I need to go into the architecture of the IoT is basically for you all to understand what all the rules are available in IoT. Okay, it's not a technical session, but I'm trying to make you to understand. Once you understand the architecture of an IoT, you will be in a position to understand where you can fit in that architecture, right? The IoT architecture. So that's the reason I have the IoT architecture being conveyed to you all, and followed by where all the places IoT is being used, who are the major players of IoT in the current market. Okay, and then we'll be going for the applications of IoT and what is the major application area the IoT is being played in the market, and then what are the hot skills you need for the IoT, and what are the roles available in IoT for you to proceed further in terms of the career options. So this is the agenda going to be for another 57 more minutes. Before I get into deep dive, as I did mention to you about what is an IoT, we all know that, when we started our career as a computer, of course, we all know we talked in terms of data, right? So we should not forget as an IT or a non-IT person, the data speaks a lot in the world, right? In the current world, data speaks a lot. Wherever you go, we need the data. The data is nothing but raw information. That is what we would have been learned from the day one when you touch your IT, computer science. So when I have a computer, what I mean is I used to have to collect the data, process the data, and get the output. So I give an input, process, output. That is nothing but my IPO cycle, where what I did is I had an individual computer, I give the data, process, and get the output. That is a single computer. When I transfer, then what it means invented is I want to communicate between two computers, between that, I want to share the data between two computers, meaning to say that I want to exchange the data from one computer to another computer. There we started and introduced a concept called network of computers. Network is not a new word, but you need to understand even the network of people, we call it as a network, right? You have n number of people communicate together, what we call it as network of people, which is nothing but a group of people, right? Similarly, I had a computers which has been connected together, linked together. I call it as a network of computers, meaning replacing the number of people. I use I'm sorry. Right. So replacing the word of the computer, I used a word called, replacing the word of people, I used a word called computer, meaning to say that network of computers. And the network of computers had different variations, meaning to say the type of networks varies from LAN, WAN, and MAN. Of course, you all would have done in your degrees to understand the difference between a LAN, WAN, and the MAN. So we started with the LAN, that is local area network, within the same premises, and then we went for WAN and the MAN, the wide area network, that is nothing but a WAN, where we introduced a concept called inter-network of computers instead of within a same building. We introduced, the computer got introduced exposed to the world, called as an internet. How do I expose to the world using different protocols, with like HTTP, etc. But I used a concept called www, which is nothing but called as my World Wide Web. So World Wide Web used using my internet network of computers. So internet network of computers, when I did, then the flow came into the place that, when I can communicate between the computers, why not I use my handheld device to communicate each other? Because those days when we had the mobile phones, we didn't have any operating systems. It's a normal GSM mobile, right? So we just call using the mobile phone, we used to call each other, but there was no communication between the mobile phone in terms of the data. So, even the communication, okay, I'm sorry, I hope it's clear, right? I'm audible?
Yes, Yogi, you are audible. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I was trying to tell you about the communication between the mobiles. So once we have the communication between the mobiles, later it was been, we tried to introduce using the WAP, wireless application protocol, to communicate between the mobiles in terms of sharing the data. Hence the mobile internet technology came to the place, and it all started with your Symbian OS earlier, Palm OS, Symbian OS. Then currently we have an Android OS in the market to interact between n number of mobile communication. So what I'm trying to tell is the day started with a computer, single computer, then we went for the network of computers, then we came into the internet of computers, and now we are into the mobile internet technology, where using the mobile internet technology earlier, we used to have only sharing of data, sending the emails and using your Yahoo Messenger. Those are the days where we use mobile internet. But now what we have started using is, apart from mobile internet sharing the instant messenger, we also step into the social networks. So keeping the evolution of the technology starting from computer to computer to mobile. So everything, all these things, all these things, what I mean is, to the computer, the mobile is all what is nothing but an object which we have something and processor inside that. In the sense, inside a computer I have a processor. Inside I have a processor to process the data, provide me an output. So the terminology called that mobile and computer was being replaced with a concept called things. The things is nothing but an object. So what we started, the terminology, that the technology got enhanced and came into place is, starting from computer, we need to introduce all the things, any objects in this world to be communicating to each other without any human interaction. So right now, in your mobile, you interact with another person by touching a screen. So the technology currently in the market is, without any communication between the things, there should be a communication to be made without any physical touch. That's the concept, we derived into the Internet of Things, and what it is being termed and being defined. The definition is in different types of definitions are being available in the market. Like, IoT is a network of internet connected objects. The objects is nothing but, as I told you, the things which I have been displaying in this current slide. The things can be your television, your smart clock, your mobile phone, right? And your laptop, your car, your refrigerator, your washing machine, any devices, any home appliances, to be very honest. Okay, if I want to go for a smart home, I'll be telling you in future what are the things. Any devices, any smartphone, any home appliances, if I want to communicate between each other, I can consider that object is nothing but a things I can communicate between each other. So the world where all the devices and the appliances are connected to a network. So as I did mention to you, a network is a strong, it is a strong for us to do any activities, right? If I am alone, am I able to communicate all these things to anyone? No. We need a network of people to communicate each other so that collaboratively we achieve some objective. Similarly, as a humans, when we use our network to achieve some complex tasks, the devices in the internet, if it all connected to the internet, they collaboratively can achieve a complex task. With that requires a high degree of intelligence. So what I mean to say here is, any devices which is being exposed to the internet, it can be communicated to a network. If at all it can be communicated to a network, it can achieve a complex task. So in short, physical and digital words using. These two are the catchy words we need to understand. We use sensors and actuators. So the sensors is nothing but what is not new to us, but the jargon sensor, if at all we don't know, it might be new to us. To be very simple, even our mobile phone has a sensor, right? So GPS is a sensor, microphone in my phone is a sensor, touch screen, accelerometer. What do you mean by accelerometer in a mobile phone is a portrait and a landscape, the way you view the contents of the mobile. Again, that also contains a sensor to see whether it should be displayed in a portrait or a landscape, right? The magnetometer is like compass, north, east, west, south zone, right? The fingerprint, the barcode scanner. So all these things are the sensors which are available already in the mobile phone. I took and insert a sensor in any devices. So now we can understand that my mobile phone, which is nothing but a smartphone, which is nothing but we call it as a device, so-called device, I can use a mobile phone device to communicate to another mobile phone device. So already we are used for IoT, right? So it's not new, but the terminology, the jargon, the implementation concept, the way of thinking should vary in order for us to get into an ITO career option. Right? So I cannot just tell, hey, I have my IoT, I have a sensor over there. I know, sorry, I have a mobile phone, I have a sensor over there. I know IoT already. No, I know how to consume the IoT, but I should be in a position to understand how I design the IoT concept, what all the fields I can implement the IoT, what would be a result of the IoT. So I should be, as a student, you should to start thinking in a broad perspective manner that if I implement an IoT, what are the complex tasks I can achieve? So once, now you tell me that, hey, Yogesh, we have a sensor in the mobile phone. You just told me communication between mobile phone is an IoT. Is that enough? It might be enough for just for playing games, for communication, but in real time you can do wonders, right? What all those wonders we can be done? I'll be listing you all those wonders in the applications of IoT, right? That will help you to understand what all the wonders the IoT can be are being done in the current market. So coming back to the sensor, so if at all you want to know a technical definition or understanding of sensor, which is nothing but a device, right? Which has been, that changes. Can someone mute, please? Thank you. Right, so sensor is nothing but a device that changes a physical parameter to an electrical output. So that is the basic way of conveying the sensor, but that is so-called a definition, and I know you all being a student, scary about understanding the definition, but you can understand the concept of sensor is nothing but sensing, right? What you sense always? Okay, your mom cooks at home, you just feel that, hey, today is the sambar rice, or today is a roti chana, right? So this is the way you sense it. Similarly, any sensor which has been attached to the device always senses according to the parameters the sensor is being defined for. For example, humidity sensor senses the humidity, right? The camera sensor, as I did mention to you, it senses the camera part, right? The fingerprint sensor will go for grabbing the fingerprint. For each and every sensor, there are n number of sensors are available in the market. Whatever you call, those sensors are available in the market. So those sensors needs to be attached to those particular device. Which device? Any device which you want to communicate to the internet network, right? What I mean to say, any device which you want to communicate to the network. Say for an example, I have a air condition. Air condition is my what? Device, correct? And that device I want to communicate to network. How can, before communicating to the network, I need to understand what type of data it should emit. It means that air condition should emit. For an example, I want to understand the temperature, meaning to say that I will keep a sensor called temperature sensor attached to my air condition so that it will emit the data. Once the data is being emitted by the air condition, if at all the sensor can communicate to my network, right? Then it means that the data which has been emitted by air condition can emit the data to the network, and the network consumes the data and shares the data according to the application. So those concepts I'll be sharing it to you in future in the next slides. Now the topic here I wanted to stress is what is a sensor? You all understood it sends the data and it can emit the data. And the other word is called as an actuator. So what do you mean by actuator? These two plays a vital role in terms of understanding. But sensors and actuators you need to understand in order to play around with IoT. When it comes to actuator, it is something, and it converts the electrical signal into a physical output. For an example, it operates in a different direction, reverse direction. Okay, whatever the sensor it gives to an electrical output, but actuator converts the electrical signal to a physical output, meaning to say that you can consider a scenario that I have an electrical motor that is nothing but my water motor pump, right? If my motor pump is going to generate a lot of heat, immediately the sensor will sense the heat, emit the data and tell the signal is that, hey, it has been overburned, disconnect the motor from the power supply. So I'll be using an actuator for that. So sensor and actuator is something that, both works in a reverse direction. So these are the basic of my IoT introduction. With that, I'll go for something called as an M2M, which is nothing but machine-to-machine connectivity. That is what we need to keep in our mind. If somebody talks in terms of IoT, you have to, as a student, don't tell that, hey, you know what? I talk with my mobile phone and interact with another mobile phone, which is nothing but an IoT. You need to start stressing the word called machine to machine. So what happens the machine to machine, how the word called machine to machine is being derived is, first, before the internet, human used to interact. As I did, understand, Nagaraj just mentioned that, during the introduction of IoT, we have a joint family and we used to get an opinion from different family members, correct? That was pre-internet. We used to have a human-to-human interactions, and then we had that time we had a normal phone. You remember, we used to have a fixed landline, and then it came to a mobile phone, and then we started interacting using SMS. So this is what before internet. And once the internet of content, the World Wide Web came into the place, we started with what? Email communication. So slowly the SMS faded off. We started interacting with the email, and using the internet of content, World Wide Web, we shared the information in the internet. Also, we started having an entertainment in the internet. So that is the concept of my WWW by W3 consortium from internet of content. Then from the content, we moved to something called as services. So just having the content, can I gain any revenue out of it? No. Always you aim to get revenue out of something what you invest, right? So you invest your time today for this 60-minute session. What you gain is the knowledge of IoT and the career options. So you invest your time to get something, a service. Similarly, I from the internet of content, I need to gain some revenue and the profit. So there introduce something called as an e-productivity and e-commerce, where you started buying and selling the things using the internet of services, which is being defined as Web 2.0. From the service, again, it went to internet of people, where is nothing but we have the social media like Facebook, Skype, YouTube, Twitter. So this is the flow which is being started with pre-internet, with the internet of content, internet of service, and internet of people. Still, we are in internet of people, right? We all communicate to internet. Even this meeting is being conducted through an internet. Webinars are being conducted through the internet. And what now, these internet of people is being trying to replace the people with things. So the content, from content to services to people to things. Now we are into a place that internet of things. What do you mean by internet of things is, I can communicate between two machines. Any machines can be communicated provided it is been attached to a network. Provided attached to a network with an objective to accomplish. So why do I need to have an internet of things is to identify whether the objects are being performing well, and to track the movement of the objects, to monitor the objects. I am trying to replace the word of objects, machine to the objects here. Later I'll just tell you all the objects, whichever has been attached to the sensors, we call it as a machine, right? So I started this session with a data. Now I'm not talking anything about the data. I'm just trying to tell about the internet of things, etc., etc., etc. So what the data here, how those data, the introduction which I gave it in the first slide comes into place here is, when I attach a sensor to a machine, it emits the data, correct? I need to grab the data. In the sense, the way you architecture your IoT, it needs to grab the data and analyze the data, right? You can use your data analytic techniques, analyze the data, and get your output according to the need of your environment. So even here, we gather the data. The Internet of Things is nothing but my communication of machine to machine, which is used to identify, track, monitor, etc. Right? So that comes to my machine to machine connectivity. Now, understanding the basics of IoT and the way the IoT in terms of machine to machine came into place, now it's time for us to understand the basic architecture, wherein I did mention to you in the beginning of the session that I'm not going to touch base in the technical terms, to deep dive into the technical terms, but I do need to, go overview of the architecture in order for you to understand what role you will be interested in your career option, right? So perception layer, what here we see is the sensor layer, right? So any sensor layer, I'm going to consider it as a perception layer. For an example, let me take an example of an air condition, right? The air condition has a sensor, so it goes to emit the data. So sensor senses, gather the information about the environment. I did mention to you what will be the humidity of the room temperature. It gathers the information of the environment, senses the physical parameters, or identifies other objects in the environment. So I sense the data using my perception layer, and those data are being passed to my network layer. After sensing the data, I did mention to you that I need to pass the data to a network. So the network layer here, you can keep in your mind for yourself to understand that, hey, the network is nothing but what? My Wi-Fi. Wow, apart from that, I have my Bluetooth, correct? And apart from that, any ISP provider, Airtel gateways is nothing but my network layer, right? So the communication from perception layer to the network layer flows through a network. The network can be any devices, which I did mention to you. Right now, we'll take an example of a Wi-Fi network. So I pass the data through my Wi-Fi network layer, and then in turn, my application layer will be waiting to grab the data which is being emitted by my network layer. So application layer automatically consumes the data. So I took an example in this place that, I have an air condition with a sensor being attached to it, and that sensor assume that in my house I have a network of Wi-Fi network being attached, and it emits the data through my network layer, and the application layer can be my mobile phone with a smart application. That smart application will tell me what is my room temperature at home where my air condition is being fixed. Make sense? So application layer grabs the data from the network layer, and it will sense what is the temperature is available in my home. I can be in London, I can be in US, but my air condition can be in Chennai. But still I can grab the data through my network layer, through the networks. I can read the content. Okay, from there, it's up to you. Do you remember I did mention to you to achieve a complex task? Each and every thing in the world, when you design, you need to understand what should be an output. So the output is generic. When you go for your college exams, practical exams, it's a generic output. But when it comes to a real-time implementation, you have n various of applications to be used and the type of output we need. Example, I just gave you that, I read my humidity from London. But apart from reading the humidity, I can also set the temperature of air condition using this application layer software. Apart from setting the temperature, I should also be in a position to on and off it, right? So these three layers are considered as my very, very basic architecture for my IoT. Now you don't think that this is the only architecture available in the market. No, it's not that. There are different layers of architecture are available. The layer of architecture will vary complex activities involved in your project, right? So in this layer, I am defining something called as a 5-layer architecture for you all to understand that between the perception layer and application layer, I have introduced 2 layers called transport layer and processing layer, right? See, sensor sends the data to the transport layer. Here the transport layer, it has been very clearly defined to you all, stating that wireless 3G LAN, but there is something called as a processing layer are available here. Here in the meaning before it reaches to the application layer. So in the previous slide, I did mention to you that I had a perception layer, network layer, and a application layer. So from network layer, it went directly to the application layer. The application layer took care of processing the huge data. Okay, now in this 5-layer architecture, what I am trying to do is I am going to separate the application layer and the processing layer. The processing layer, when the data is being emitted by the perception layer, that is from the sensor, it goes to the transport layer through the mode of 3G or LAN or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It reaches to the processing layer. What is the processing layer basically here is, it processes the data. So what processes the data? We should understand the way of processing the data and be a database, right? We all know in RDBMS how it works, the relational database management system. We have, n number of flavors of RDBMS are available in the market. That's the place where we can process the data. Apart from the database, we can also store and process these data in terms of the cloud computing. Now you need to understand the sessions, what was being trained last week. Last week we had a cloud computing concept, right? So now you understand that the network layer, that is the transport layer, emits the data and that can be grabbed by my cloud computing. So the cloud can hold the data, process the data in the cloud, and then give the output of that data from the cloud computing to the application layer. So application layer gets the data from the cloud computing or the databases or big data, and then those data are being shown or displayed in the application layer. It doesn't stop in the application layer. Here I'm going to go one way ahead, or in terms of the business layer. Just displaying the application data, the sensor emits the data, application layer displays the data. Can I just go on with that? No, I too can go in terms of the business layer. Let me take the same example of the air condition. The air condition, assume is going to be a Samsung air condition. So the Samsung organization can know how many air conditions are available in Chennai with the branded called Samsung. Can he get those data using the sensor? Yes. Right? So even an business application layer, business layer, you can use these data in terms of an application usage or in terms of the business layer usage. So this is the 5-layer architecture is being available in the IoT. I am not going to give a deep dive into the fog computing and edge computing, but still in IoT, fog and edge plays a vital role. That's the place where I have something called as a transport layer and perception layer. In the between of the perception and the transport layer, I will be having a fog and edge. Edge will be in the perception layer itself, where the data are being stored locally inside the sensor. And fog computing is nothing but we have between the transport layer and the perception layer. That is the way you have to design your architecture for the IoT. So that has been left out to the architecture to design how the IoT solution needs to be provided. So having said that, with the IoT architecture, now it will be easier for you to understand the job roles involved in the IoT. I'm going to start with the IoT developer, as everyone knows that the developer is someone who develops it. Let me try to highlight over here. The IoT is not a single programming language or single development environment, because there are n number of devices are available in the market. I mean, the sensors are available in the market. So you need to develop according to the need of the environment and according to the usage of the application. There are n number of type of application. I just gave you an example of smartphone. You can use it as an application to display the data. Apart from the smartphone, we have big data where you get the data and manipulate the data. So the developer is not only the UI developer, meaning to say that interface developer. The developer also, as I did mention to you in the previous slide, the developer also need to maintain a database. He need to develop a database, manage the database, right? And you manipulate the data according to the need of an output. So as a IoT aspirants, if you at all you want to take a career role in your IoT, and if you think that I have a creativity skills, I am very good in designing, I am very good in analyzing and manipulating the data, then you can go for an IoT developer. Of course, I will be sharing you skills what you need as an IoT developer in the future slides. So having said with the IoT developer, let me go to the IoT engineer here. So the IoT engineer basically is the term being used here because we have the devices being attached here, we have the microcontrollers available here, we have a Raspberry Pi and Arduino being used. So a lot of engineering activities also being involved. So we are in need of the embedded technologies for the particular team whose aspirants can go for an embedded terms. At that moment, we go for an IoT engineering concept. So what the IoT consultant plays a role is to create a solution, IoT solution. For an example, during our discussion, I want to create a solution for my water motor pump, or I want to give a solution for my meter reading, right? Meter reading is nothing but like smart meter. So smart meter in the sense, automatically every month the meter needs to be calculated and given to my state government so that they send me what is the amount. So that is my concept, and I too need to create a solution. So the consultant will consult with the respective stakeholders. What I mean, the respective stakeholders who are all will be benefited out of the project. The consultant will consult and create a solution, and that solution will be designed by the chief IoT architecture or an engineer. So what the architecture or the engineer, chief IoT architecture engineer will do is, he is something like our architect who design our house. So you all know, right? Before we construct a house, we have an architect. He will put a drawing in a very big sheet of paper with a blueprint, give it to you. Hey, this is the model of your house, right? Similarly, an architect of an IoT will have a good knowledge already on designing a solution, and he will tell what all the devices is needed, what all the sensors need to be implemented, and what all the networks to be implemented, how the data needs to be stored. Is it going to be a fog computing? Is it going to be an edge computing? Is it going to be a cloud computing? When the data need to be transferred from fog to cloud. So all these designs and will be done by my IoT architect, also called as an engineer. So these are the different job roles are available for an IoT aspirants. Keeping that as a base, we will see if at all I know all this, where can I apply it? Meaning to say, I am good in IoT. I know this is the different jobs roles are available in the market for myself, and where these are being implemented is I can start it from my home. Okay, you being a student at the moment, or if at all you are interested other than getting into a job, or if at all you wanted to start making fun activities, you can start as a smart home. What even a smart home is, I have a light, I can switch on and switch off the light using the smart home application, right? Anything which is in the domestic space, for example, dishwasher, I can have a on off flow of water in the dishwasher. Everything I can connect to the smart devices. Anything, I can have a sensor which can be communicated to the network, and I can control using my mobile phone. So any devices which is being connected to the network can be communicated and grab the data. Again, I did mention to you as an IoT. And also I gave you an air condition example. So these are the few applications of my smart home where you can start doing it. Even your music system, even if already you have a smart television where that it works as a hand gesture to on your television, off your television, right? Again that is sensing, right? It's senses your hand. You have an Alexa, voice recognition, visual recognition. So all these things, we as a, everyone can start implementing. It's not that, I need to work and only then I can implement an IoT. It's not at all that. Even in your day-to-day life, you can start implementing your own devices, becoming a smart in your home. So that is nothing but my smart home. When it comes to the smart city, something that, we have a home which became smart already. I can also make my city as a smart. So what is my smart city? So I'll just start up with a street light. Street light, I can just make it on and off according, and I can make the temperature of the, I can make the, regulator to, dim, bright. All those energies can be emitted using my smart lighting in the smart city. So the example also smart parking lots. I'm just giving an example of the smart city. It can be a lot. I'm just giving a one or two for you to understand what is a smart city which has been available. For parking lots, I can tell the user when he enters the parking lot which lot is empty. So in your mobile phone or in your car, if it's been attached to a network, even the car can detect and tell that, hey, you go left and right, park it over here. So that is nothing but my parking lot, smart parking lot. So these are the ways the smart city has been gaining up. Now you will be telling me, hey, I do a smart home, I do a smart city, right? Sorry, I'll do a smart home. What is my revenue out of it, right? So the revenue out of the smart home which you do for yourself is your energy is saved. Meaning the energy is nothing but you don't go do physical activity. Everything do it in gesture. Everything is a device. It will communicate. It will complete it off. Right? So that is the revenue out of it. But when it comes to the IT professional environment in terms of the organization, everyone needs to gain revenue out of it. So they go into the industrial environment like automotive, healthcare, retail. So these are smart energy. These are the places where the big organizations go and get the projects and make all these devices available in their industry to be communicated to each other, gather the data of those communication being done. Assuming I go for an automotive, the BMW is one of the vendor for our IBM. So we have done a lot of IoT activities for the automotive for BMW. So it can communicate whatever happens inside the car. Whatever happens inside the car is where it is parking. Example, I'm just giving you an example where it has been parking, where it has been navigating to, right? And how much the petrol is available, how much kilometer it can go, what is the air condition, everything can be done using an IoT inside a particular car. So that is the terminology being implemented, the technology being implemented in the IoT automotive. Coming back to your health care. So in healthcare, we all know that, we already have something like, detection of... Hello? Yeah, detection of a blood pressure or glucose monitoring devices. All those things can be done in healthcare, meaning to say that these are the devices which has been helped, this has been developed to help the people who are suffering from diabetes for glucose monitoring device. It detects the glucose level, right, basically. And that glucose device, those information can be shared using a radio frequency. Right? It's not only that, any type of frequencies can be used. Here I'm going to use a radio frequency attached to the chip, and that frequency can be grabbed by the doctors. They will get the status of the glucose level for the particular patient. So it means that they no need to come directly to the patient, see the level of glucose. It can be monitored using the radio frequency, which is nothing but Internet of Things. Right. So when I go for the retail, which we are already aware that, like wearables, oops, I'm sorry, the glasses, right? The glasses which you wear, it can automatically dim, dark, bright according to the humidity level, which is available already in the market. So even the glasses which you wear automatically can do those effects because of the sensors. Right? And apart from the wearable glasses, you also have a Fitbit, right? Number of steps you walk, what it does is, it gathers the data according to the steps, senses the data, the number of steps you do, and it's the cloud. Thank you.
You may
Thank And I just did mention to you about the variables, like, Fitbits or steppers, you can give a count. It's not only the count, you will have a historical data, how many days you have been, how many steps you have done for how many days, etc. Right? So these are the way you gather the data, and not only gathering the data, we will be in a position to extract the data and, you see for past 1 year, how many steps I have done. Which month I have not taken number of steps. What is the duration I normally do a walk? What is the timing I normally sit it? So these are the way you can extract the data with a simple stepper or a Fitbit, right? Or a smartwatches. So just imagine when for a particular human, who can calculate and evaluate and monitor and track the steps, what he does. When it comes to the industrial unit, like, healthcare, smart agriculture, automotive, we do a lot of wonders in the market, right? So that is in terms of the readable and wearable. I did mention to you about the smart agriculture. Of course, in smart agriculture, we always go for pumping the water into the paddy field according to the moisture, humidity. That is one of the example. I'm just taking it for the smart agriculture. Industrial internet, again, the industrial internet starting from your production environment. Assume the industrial internet, assume I have a production environment where the inventory gets into the production unit. I can track that inventory from the raw material which enters to the production unit until it goes out with an assembly part. Everything can be tracked. What I mean everything is here is, when the raw material enters into the production environment, it will be stored in the inventory of stores. I can monitor how many number of raw materials have entered, right? How many is going to go into the production environment and how much is out from the assembly environment. So all these things can be monitored using my IoT applications. Other than that, the main quality of the end-use product in the industrial environment can be measured using my IoT, which helps not to have a rework or, which leads to a non-rework environment. So these are the areas where the IoT is being applied. And now you will be wondering, when I have so much application, which area plays a vital role is my banking domain. Banking and financial services plays a vital role in terms of the IoT, which is nothing but 21.1%. And it doesn't mean that other areas are not being covered. Yes, all the areas are being covered with the IoT. Only thing is currently is boost up the enhancement. The major player role currently is the BFSI environment, but other environments is been starting to improve. For example, you can see the healthcare industry has been already improved a lot. Manufacturing industry is also coming up like anything. So now it's up to you to understand which domain is useful for you when you enter into an organization. So these are the few sectors which I have defined the growth in terms of the sectors. When it comes to the Internet of Things, what is the global projection figure is by 2026, 1,102 billion US dollar is being projected the market value, because by 2018, 190 billion was projected when we are achieved. Now everything, all people talk only in terms of what? IoT, meaning all the devices needs to communicate. When all the devices needs to be communicating, you guys are being demanded in the market, because you are the one who are going to develop the IoT solution, right? And you are going to play a vital role on designing, developing, extracting the data, providing the data as and being required. So the IoT, the number of devices increases, the IoT plays a vital role, and you guys will have a good chance in the market. The IoT, not only the designing of the IoT, of course, please keep in the mind that I need to interact with the cloud. So you need to understand a bit on the cloud also. I need to interact with the internet network. I too need to understand the network. But if you want to major yourself in the development, you have to concentrate 80% into the development, the remaining 20% on the other areas of understanding the cloud, how you interact with the cloud, that's all. So that's the way I'm sorry. That's the way you need to understand what area of specialization in terms of IoT I need to get into it, right? So who are the major players in the IoT? So we have IBM. IBM Watson IoT plays a major role in the market of, the Watson is a supercomputer which you will be learning about, or we'll be having a case study in your artificial intelligence webinar session, which is due in the next few upcoming weeks. So you can have a deep dive into that. So IBM uses an Watson IoT to promote our IoT solutions, right? Similarly, each and every organization like Huawei, Google, Microsoft, and Cisco has their own way of IoT solutions, but IBM plays a vital role in this, and they provide the solution using a Watson IoT. Okay. So now coming back to what all the tools are available in IoT. So we have a number of tools that as I did mention to you earlier, since IoT is booming in the market, the major players for cloud, the major players of cloud, last week you did mention, our friend Vimal did mention that Amazon, Azure, right? So Amazon, Azure already stepping into IoT. So Windows also stepping into IoT. Can you see an operating system called Windows 10 IoT? It's an operating system which you can interact with your small devices. And Amazon has a free open software of RTOS. So RTOS also plays a role in the IoT to connect it. So now there are the major players of the operating system and the cloud providers already providing the solutions for the IoT. If at all you are more interested, please get into the Microsoft Windows, Amazon, right, and try to get into the Amazon website and search for an IoT. You can find any number of solutions which they have already provided as an freeware. You can use those applications for your real-time lifetime also. And Apache, of course, is an open source. You have these operating systems available. And how do I develop an IoT tools, development tools? I have a Cisco IoT Cloud Connect and IoT AWS, Amazon one, and IoT platforms. I just did mention to you about the IBM Watson. It is a platform where you can start building your IoT application similar to the Global Cloud, AWS IoT Core, ThinkRox, Industrial IoT. So these are the IBM platforms which are already existing in the market, which means that it is easier for you to start putting your solution in those platforms. All right. So these are the tools are available. Connectivity management software is simply to connect between your devices and to your cloud environment, to your network environment. So how those connectivity is being managed and maintained. So I have different management softwares available. So these are the basic tools are available in the market. But if at all you want to know what are the skills I need to understand is to start up with. These are the skills you need to understand, but it doesn't mean that you need to know all. You can be a master of one, right? Any one, and it's better to understand the others. Understand the others in the sense, like for example, C and C++, it's an object-oriented, right? C++ is an object-oriented programming language. If at all you know that, it is easy for you to learn the Java also. And if at all you know Java, it's basically easy for you to learn C++, it's vice versa. So you can learn any Python programming, which is very booming in the market currently. If at all you know the very good in Python, you can also get into the cloud computing. So a lot of scopes are available apart from the IoT. If at all you are specialized in any one programming language, you can play a role even in IoT, in cloud, in artificial intelligence, a lot. So you need to be a master in any one or two of the programming languages. And of course, you all know, I did mention to you about the cloud. You need to understand the architecture of the cloud. The best cloud which has been available in the market is IBM Cloud, Azure, AWS. You please understand the architecture of the cloud. That should help you out, because all the architecture, the base architecture will remain the same. Only the tips and tweaks will be different in terms of the architecture. And moving to the operating system, by default, Linux and Unix plays a vital role here because of the device communication. Apart from that, Windows 10 also plays. And network connectivity, you need to understand here, because in order for you to transfer through the network. If at all you don't understand if you don't understand a good knowledge in terms of the security, there will be compromise in the security for the network connectivity. So it's better for you to have a good understanding of the network connection, how your sensors are being communicated to the network, how it is being protected, right? All those things you need to understand. So hardware platforms, of course, I did mention to you about the Arduino and Raspberry Pi. According to your environment and the need, you go for an Arduino, a Raspberry Pi, and power tools like Power BI is being used for analyzing the data which you have grabbed from the sensors and to manipulate in the cloud environment. So these are the IoT skills is needed, but again, you compare the skills with your base architecture, which I have defined in my slide 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. You compare where do you want to fit in. Am I going to be an engineer? I want to have an embedded C programming. Good, I can get into that. Right, device programming. No, I want to go have a UI interface, all those stuff. Then I can go for JavaScript and Python programming. No, I want to manipulate the data, put it in the data in the cloud. Then I want to go for Azure or IBM Cloud. No, what are the data I collected? I want to manipulate the data. Then you should be good in Power BI. Make sense? So these are the ways you need to understand and analyze what skills or environment you need to get into in. So once you understood, where do you get into in? These are the free courses are available in the internet. So I'll be sharing this slide. Feel free to get into those websites and try to grab the knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? Of course, knowledge is in waste and time. So get into these links. Try to learn the concepts of IoT. IBM has its own link, and of course Cisco currently is providing a 20-hour introduction course in IoT. You can get into this link. Can you please go on mute? Thank you. So Cisco provides a 20-hour introduction course in IoT. That will provide you a certificate also. Please get into the link, make use of it, attend a 20-hour introduction course in IoT, get a certificate from Cisco also. And Microsoft and AWS also provides the IoT courses. Please get into the links, and you have a number of webinars also available. Please and get into the link and make use of it. And these are the few online resources I have grabbed it where I find few tutorials in terms of IoT, and Udemy, Coursera, and EDX are the popular sites where you can grow and do your self-learnings. Udemy, of course, is a cost. Coursera, you can go for a trial, and if at all you complete the course in 7 days in Coursera, you get the certificate for free. If more than 7 days, you have to pay for Coursera, right? So these are the websites which will be helpful for you in your career. So now what's next? You have to pick up, choose your career, where do you fit in terms of IoT, and analyze the resources, what I have provided to you in terms of the websites. Start your career, and good luck.